New camera.
Hello, everybody.
Eric Warfield.
Paul Grimshaw.
It is time for the best comics of all time.
But you're on the Titanic.
I'm on.
It's sinking.
Oh my gosh.
You've grabbed some comics.
It's getting dark.
You're sitting in a boat.
It's cold.
What comics did you grab? As you're wading in the cold, dark waters of the
I
Atlantic.
probably grabbed something that was Kevlar coated because it might float. But there's only very few of those, and we don't really want to. I think what you're thinking is a desert island.
Sure.
Why not swim to it?
Yeah.
And I'm there. And,
What'd you bring with you?
I guess my number one pick would have to be these beautiful Alan Moore. I want to say there's 5 volumes of this, maybe 50 plus issues of Alan Moore, John Bissett, and John Tuttlebin. Excuse me, Steve Bissett and John Tuttlebin's just amazing arc of Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
What is this? 1992, 93, something like very, very early. Even the reprints kind of harken back to the old pulp paper. They've kind of pumped it up a little. I do too.
Yeah.
Just like it's like Count Dracula. It's just
Classic
man
horror.
in love. I mean, there's so many tropes in here that I don't know. Alec Holland, loses his humanity, turns into a swamp. It's basically he's a plant, but he still is a woman.
The avatar of nature on Earth. Yeah.
There is just so much going on here. You might have heard the writer Alan Moore. He's written such other beautiful books as, this one, my number 2 pick, V for Vendetta. No, it's not Watchmen. We've all seen Watchmen. It's good and stuff, but this book is twice the book that Watchmen
Somebody
is.
complained about the coloring earlier, and I just broke my heart.
Somebody complained last time about the horrible artwork, and I was like, well, obviously one of it is right, and one of it is wrong, and that would be you complaining.
You're a fool.
Because David Lloyd's artwork is just perfect for this book. Coming from the old country, where it rains all the time, and it's dreary and horrible most of the time, this artwork kind of tells us that, it's a little darker there. It's, so we all know the story, we've all seen the movie, but I think you'll get a little more out of the graphic novel. If you haven't read it and you've only seen the movie, I highly recommend the shitty artwork of David Lloyd and
the horrible coloring.
fabulous, horrible coloring, oh my god. Maybe upgrade to the hardcover edition, it'll be a little shinier for you. And the Alan Moore guy again.
Yeah.
We're really paying. Oh my god, we're totally filling his moat with crocodiles with all of these recommendations.
He's sitting in his high castle. Waiting.
Exactly. And speaking of English people, wait, there isn't one. It's Frank Miller.
It's that broken dude.
The Batman book.
Yeah.
We've all heard about it.
Yeah.
We've all read it. The Dark Knight Returns. For me, in that period, it was. It kind of jumped from Batman and Batman being kind of jolly, the 60s show, and even the Michael Keaton show, and Jack Nicholson and stuff, to, oh my god, he's some curmudgeon and the world's gone to shit, and he's our last protector and stuff, and kind of went back to that 30s kind of style, like dark Batman and stuff.
Yeah. Well, before there was like Elseworlds, and before there was Vertigo, and before there was any way to. That now it seems so commonplace. Like, let's deconstruct that.
Exactly.
It's not deconstructing it, it's throwing it into the future and showing the world deconstructed, but he's still Batman and he's still trying to get shit done.
He's out there to help us.
Yeah.
And the artwork's stunning when Frank could draw.
Superman's a tool.
Superman's a
Green Arrow.
Politico.
Green Arrow is
Oh my
actually
God.
the revolutionary.
Yeah.
Well, he always is a revolutionary, but he's the future revolutionary who tries to do something. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. I remember buying this book in comic book form and going, how much is this book? What was it, like 75 cents or $1 at the time? It was like,
those were all $3.50.
Yeah, it was nutty.
Those are all ridiculous.
Yeah, it was expensive at the time.
Now,
Those are my picks.
Now cheap, $14.99. Get the whole trade. Get the whole
The
thing.
whole bloody thing.
First issue's like $60.
I know, man.
All right.
First print only.
All right. I have Alan Moore too.
What?
Unfortunately. So
All right, let's get the Brits out of the way.
yeah, no. Oh, Mike Carey's a Brit too. So the Unwritten. Kind of playing with the idea of like a Harry Potter kind of character, or like a young man who, in investigating the missing and presumed death of his father, realizes he may just be a fictional character that has been made real by people believing that he is real, and that through alchemical magic he is an actual person. And
Mike, great principle, by the way.
Mike Carey's like just his to have like real people meet each other. Rudyard Kipling, Mark Twain, actual literary figures, to get into like books themselves, the castle where Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein and things like that, all woven into this as like real things, adds to the world that he creates, because it's our world. It's
grounded in truth.
It's grounded in it. Yeah, it's grounded in a reality that we're all familiar with. Yet you're following this young man trapped in Moby Dick, trapped in books, right?
Very creative.
Yeah, it's for me really, being a book lover myself, bibliophile, and like reading books and living in it, to have someone in that world is one of my favorites.
We're talking about books with pictures right now, though. Don't slow down.
Sorry, dude. I'm talking about words with words in them.
So the pipes.
A great journey, really beautiful story.
Is that your number one pick?
And one of my all-time favorites.
That's your number one pick of the year?
I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1.
You're at 3.
I'm at 3.
You kind of turn the
3.
The frown upside down on me. Gotcha.
So another favorite. We're gonna go back to Alan Moore.
Oh, that guy.
This is a big one.
Greatest moat ever.
From hell. Again, research. To think of the amount of research that goes into hunting down, newspapers from the period, articles from the period, everything, to know who all these people
Maps
are.
from the period.
Absolutely.
Etc., right?
And so, Eddie Campbell must have just been either the happiest he's ever been, or just, oh my god, what is all this stuff? Because we all know that Alan Moore is absolutely meticulous with everything that he does and everything he talks about. So for him to really have you believe in all of these people, for him to get into the heads of all the detectives, of all the people who lived in Whitechapel, of all the people who were in London at the time, is fascinating. And alchemically, again, you're back to people with ideas, people doing stuff. Alan Moore, in an interview, talked about how when he was researching this and was coming up with ideas for all of these things, he realized that some of the stuff he made up, that he intuitively kind of said, hey, I bet it's that. Years later, things that he, in his mind, made up or guessed at actually turned out to be true. So one feeds the other in this amazing world.
He put it out there.
That is because he put it out there. You could argue all kinds of things, and again,
neutrons,
a beautiful
protons and thoughts, and
it's wild. And from hell,
ping
it's awesome.
Ping pong. It is very good. Not a terrible movie either.
And number 1.
I didn't see this one coming, people. This is a shock. A shock, I tell you. First of all, it's an American.
Yes.
It doesn't say Morrison anywhere on it.
And if you've read The Sculptor or Zot or other things by Scott McCloud, and you are into him at all, you've probably already read this. But if you haven't read this, I kind of went with something that isn't necessarily a comic, but it is one of the greatest treatises about comics. So Eisner has a couple of great volumes where he gets into, that comic books are a perfect blend of books and movies. So it's not either one, but it's a perfect blend of both, and that you can do better things in comics than either one of those things can do by themselves, which I agree with. But this lays it out like the most important textbook. It's like, if you ever want to make comic books, or you want to appreciate comic books more, if you read this, you will do so. Because this book blew my mind when I was 15 or 16 years old, and I read it, and I loved comics. We read Judge Dredd, we're reading Alan Moore, we're reading Watchmen, we're reading other things, and then I read this book, and I looked at all comic books differently from here on out. After reading this, nothing else. Nothing else compares.
Changes your life.
It changes your life. It changes your life. It makes me want to write comics. It makes me want to appreciate comics more.
How much is that book?
I look at comics differently. It's $23.99.
$23.99 to change your life, people.
There might be a newer one that's $20, $19.99.
Or $26.
Or you could find a beat to hell copy for $4.99 somewhere. If you ever see this, go to the library. I'm sure it's in the library. If you ever check it out, he gets into everything from the earliest comics, he even gets to hieroglyphs. He's saying those are comic books. They're graphic representations of language. So if you have a graphic representation of language, whether that is hieroglyphs, whether that's graffiti, whether that's Aztec ruins, whatever it is, pictures represent words, and especially in comic books, he talks about the space in between, the gutters, things like that, like very technical in certain aspects and very aesthetic.
That's why we love comics. Right?
Aesthetic and other things.
It's not all fully formed.
Yep.
It's the interpretation that we put in between that.
Absolutely. And he's saying you can do anything in comic books because it's not limited to anything else other than your imagination of being able to draw a representation of something.
And write it and stuff like that. It's very true.
I'm going number 1.
Number 1. With a bullet. that's it. That's our greatest comics ever.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if you were caught on a desert island and you had this to read, once you read it and you had all the knowledge, you'd never be able to read comics again because you just
might
trapped on the
actually be
island.
able to create some though, Tom Hanks style, on the walls with some seashells.
Wilson!
Exactly. With your own blood, because it wasn't the comics all about your own blood. You know what that means.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
That's Eric Warfield.
It's Paul Grimshaw.
It's Ed Squire.
Behind the camera.
You're the man, Ed. Thanks for making us doing this. This is the last one. We'll never come back. Merry Christmas.
No more.